Yes, this up and coming World Cup is going to be Africa's last chance at winning the tournament. Um, in the history of the World Cup, an African nation has never won the tournament. We've seen European countries win the tournament. We've seen South American teams win the tournament, but we still haven't seen an African nation win the World Cup. And can can that happen? Can an African team finally step up to the plate and win this World Cup? I think it's possible. I think it's very possible. Some people might not agree with me. Even a lot of Africans would think I'm crazy. A lot of Africans from the continent of Africa, born and raised in Africa, would even disagree with me. You know, because a lot of people don't believe Africa, an African nation, is good enough to win the World Cup. And I can't see that someone would not believe that an African nation can't win the World Cup because it just hasn't happened before. An African country has never won the World Cup, but I believe it can happen, especially in this age of football and soccer. Um, the sport of football has advanced all around the world. You know, it's not only the European and South American countries nowadays who can play at the high tier level. You know, Victor Osimhen. These are some high quality African players that I just named who play at a very high level in the Premier League, and I think Victor Osimhen plays for Serie A. So African players have shown throughout the years that they can play at a world class level in in club play. You know, but can African players play at that same high level in the World Cup and potentially win the World Cup? I think it could happen. You know, the sport of soccer and football has advanced, like I said earlier. So we see a high level of soccer played all around the world. Countries, what, South Korea beat Germany. So like we're literally are witnessing the shift in soccer. Teams from all around the world are improving. Last World Cup we saw, even though Colombia won that match, but Senegal got robbed against Colombia last World Cup. Senegal got robbed 2 goals, but I'm not even gonna go into that. But Senegal was dominating Colombia the whole game. Traditionally you would think that a South American team would just straight up outclass an African team, but that didn't happen when Senegal played against Colombia last World Cup. Senegal thoroughly outplayed Colombia the whole match. So African football is improving. A couple years ago, Senegal played a friendly against Brazil and drew, and Senegal wasn't just getting dominated that game against Brazil. Senegal was holding their own against Brazil. You know, 15 years ago, if 20, 25 years ago, if Brazil played against Senegal in a friendly match, they would have destroyed Senegal. They probably would have destroyed Senegal if they played 25 years ago, like 4-0 or something crazy like that. But nowadays, Senegal can pull off a draw against Brazil in a friendly match. That's because football all around the world, including African football, is improving skill wise, technically, tactically, and just all around the game of soccer. Football is advancing worldwide. So an African team could definitely win the World Cup. And, I think it could happen, but I think time is running out for an African team to win the World Cup. You know, if African, I mean, it's Africa's time now. It's Africa's time now to finally win a World Cup. If an African nation doesn't win this upcoming World Cup, then man, I'm just writing Africa off for the rest. You know, for the rest of history. I mean, if an African nation of Senegal, Cameroon, or Ghana does not win this upcoming 2022 World Cup, then I think the window is closed. I mean, African countries have been going to the World Cup for years and years and years now, and still haven't won the cup. I mean, pretty soon, if Africa doesn't perform at their potential in the World Cup, pretty soon it's just going to be set in stone that an African nation can never win the World Cup. Because how many times can you go to the World Cup year after year after year and still not win it? So people are going to eventually just 100% completely just start writing off African teams in the World Cup. I mean, people already write off African teams in the World Cup. When people do their World Cup predictions, they usually have the African teams not advancing to the next round of the World Cup. And that's partially because that's what history has shown us, right? African teams haven't been too successful in the World Cup. And that's what history has shown us. So a lot of people, hey, just write off African teams. But there are reasons why African teams haven't been too successful in this World Cup historically. One of these reasons is due to racism, the racism in soccer. You know, um, African teams usually get biased, prejudiced officiating in big tournament matches against European and South American nations. So the officiating is always against black players, black countries in the World Cup. But you know, by now, African players should expect that. You know, when I used to watch soccer, when I used to watch the World Cup and I watch African countries play, I used to always see these African countries getting robbed and getting bad officiating in the World Cup. A lot of times in the World Cup, African countries, they're more likely to get a red card on them for a bullshit play that normally doesn't get a red card. In the World Cup, African teams are more likely to get fouled, and the referee doesn't won't even say anything about the foul when African players get fouled. You know, uh, 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 an African player can get body slammed to the ground and officiating an official, the referees still won't blow a whistle, they won't blow a red card or a yellow card, you know. So African players, you know, they don't get the same calls that European and South American because you're doing the World Cup. But I still believe African an African nation theoretically can be so good that their level of talent can override the biased officiating and racist officiating against them. You know, and right now, one team that I have in mind that I'm rooting for in the World Cup. You know, I'm rooting for all the black African countries in the World Cup. Senegal, Cameroon, and Ghana. You know, those are the three black African countries in the World Cup. And those are the three teams that I'm rooting for. But the team that I'm rooting for the most, the African country that I'm rooting for the most is Senegal. I think Senegal has the perfect recipe to do some big things in this World Cup. Um, well, you know, Senegal has they won the this past African Cup of Nations. You know, so Senegal is technically the best team in Africa since they won the African Cup of Nations. So winning the African Cup of Nations and going to the World Cup, that gives Senegal a whole lot of confidence, you know, and at this World Cup level, confidence is key. Confidence is a key component at this level, you know. In the World Cup, everyone's playing with their national pride. And, you know, there's a lot of patriotic people who love their country and they're going full 100%, you know, to make their country proud. And to play at this high level in the World Cup, you definitely need some type of confidence. And the fact that Senegal won this last African Cup of Nations, that gives them a whole lot of confidence. That's a confidence boost that Senegal definitely needs. Um, Senegal also has a high FIFA ranking. Senegal, I believe, has the highest FIFA ranking in Africa. I think they're like number 18 in the world. So Senegal can have another boost of confidence going into the World Cup because they're a top 20 country in the world in soccer. You know, and another confidence booster that Senegal has going into this World Cup is they have Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane is arguably a top five player in the world. You know, Sadio Mane is one of the best players in the world. He's definitely world class. So Senegal has one of the best players leading them, Sadio Mane, on their team. So Senegal has a whole lot of confidence going into this World Cup, and you know, and whenever Senegal plays, they win all their matches. So the last couple of matches Senegal played, they've won. So Senegal has a whole lot of confidence going into the World Cup, and I think their confidence can positively affect how they play on the field in the World Cup. So we're just gonna have to see. Man, I like Senegal's chances. They have accurate passing. You know, they can make the Senegalese players can make long, accurate passes to set up, you know, a good scoring chance. The Senegalese players, they're good at keeping ball possession. They're not sloppy with the ball. You know, they have controlled dribbling. They stay in field position to get ball possession. And they're not lazy defensively. And they have one of the best players in the world, Sadio Mane. And another, Senegal has Eduardo Mendy as a goalkeeper, one of the best goalkeepers in the world in the Premier League as a Senegalese goalkeeper. So, at the World Cup, you definitely need a goalie who can stop these world class strikers from scoring. So Senegal has a perfect recipe to win the World Cup, or let me say, do well in the World Cup. You know, Senegal has a world class goalkeeper. Senegal has a world class offensive talent in Sadio Mane. Senegal is coming off an African Cup of Nations win and Senegal has a great coach who just won the African Coach of the Year. So hey, Senegal has the perfect recipe of confidence going into this World Cup, and I think they're gonna do pretty well. And but one flaw that Senegal has is their defense is Senegal can work on their defense definitely, but I think by the time the World Cup comes around, they'll be a little bit more organized defensively. But I think when Senegal can make that transition and playing at that top-notch world-class level and competing with the biggest teams across the world. Where are you guys? Peace.